Social Relations by Penelope Pentecostarno, Psychology 512, Liberty University. Disclaimer: English is my second language, so I do have an accent. Please bear with me. I will try to speak as slowly and clearly as possible. Thank you. Social Relations. This week, our readings were Chapter 9 and 10 are on Cassin textbook. Chapter 9 deals with the attraction and close relationships. We read about the need to belong, the initial attraction, close relationship, types of relationship, and attachment styles. Chapter 10 deals with helping others, where we learn about motivational factors such as why do people help, situational influences, when do people help, personal influences, who is likely to help, and interpersonal influences, whom do people help. Our journal articles were by Leary, titled Why Seemingly Trivial Events Sometimes Evoke Strong Emotional Reactions, the Role of Social Exchange, Rule Violations. And we learn about social exchange rules are necessary for mutuality beneficial and rewarding interdependent interactions. Second journal article was by Rand, titled Social Heuristics and Social Roles. Intuition favors altruism for women but not for men. And we learned about the roles that intuition and deliberation play in altruism, and also about how whether we help somebody or not, or whether altruism comes to us by intuition or deliberation, it really depends on the person that you are. Human beings are social creatures. We have a need to belong, and this drives us to look for relationships. Our motivation to form social connections begins with the need for affiliation, better known as our longing to build and preserve valuable interpersonal relationships. Most of these relationships are built around trust, mutual respect, and genuine concern for the other person. Because having a social interaction and affiliating with others is a need, the lack of it can bring about loneliness, which is described as a heart-wrenching emotional state. In the quest to form social relationships, we encounter factors such as attractions, types of relationships, equity theory, helping others, and altruism. These subjects will be discussed in the following paragraphs. Attractions. We all have the need to form social relationships, and affiliation is the first step. However, we don't affiliate with just anybody. Usually, we are more drawn to some individuals than to others. How do we choose the people we affiliate with? What makes us feel drawn to some and not others? Is it true that birds of a feather flock together, or is it more like opposites attract? The first perspective that we will discuss is that people are attracted to those with whom they can have a relationship that is rewarding. There are two types of rewards, direct and indirect. Direct rewards, such as getting attention, support, money, status, and valuable resources, among others. Indirect rewards would be like personal gratification from being with someone who is smart, beautiful, funny, etc. Another perspective on attraction is the belief that, when speaking of mate selection, individuals are attracted to prospects that will contribute to the conception, birth, and durability of their children. The proximity effect states that the most important social interactions develop among individuals who interact personally often and spend a lot of time together, such as co-workers. Although this may not spark attraction right away, frequency of contact is an adequate first step. The more one individual is exposed to a stimulus, the more positively they see it. This would be the more you see someone, talk to them, spend time with them, share different things, you tend to see their qualities and you start appreciating them. This is known as the mere exposure effect. With this appreciation and familiarity comes trust, which according to Leary is essential for reciprocal relationships. Another factor that influences attraction is physical attractiveness. Although beauty can be a subjective quality, without a doubt there is universal gold standard for beauty, and people tend to favor individuals who are physically attractive. Overall, people tend to be attracted to physical beauty, individuals with similar backgrounds, interests, and values, and are people they spend a lot of time with. Types of relationships. Intimate relationships have three basic components: feelings of attachment, love, and affection, fulfillment of psychological needs, and interdependence between partners. However, not all intimate relationships will have all three components. There are two types of relationships: exchange relationships and communal relationships. In exchange relationships, partners expect and desire strict reciprocity in their interactions, while in communal relationships, partners respond to each other's needs and seek each other's welfare. Exchange relationships usually occur between strangers and casual acquaintances. Communal relationships take place among close friends, family members, and romantic partners. Attachment style is the way a person typically interacts with significant others. There are three types of attachment: secure, avoidant, and anxious. In a secure attachment, individual gets close to others without difficulty and is comfortable depending on them while also being a dependable person. Although the individual doesn't have fears of abandonment or fears of someone getting too close to them. In an avoidant attachment, individual is somewhat uncomfortable getting close to others and finds it difficult to trust them and depend on them. Lastly, in an anxious attachment, the individual worries about not being loved and fears abandonment. Individual is too dependent on others, and they sometimes ends up driving people away. In order for relationships to be beneficial and rewarding, they should be interdependent and follow rules of social exchange. These rules include reciprocity, dependability, honesty, fairness, cooperation, rationality, and some minimal level of concern for others' needs, among others. Equity theory. Equity is important because it affects many aspects of the relationship. The equity theory proposes a particular version of how the social exchange works in interpersonal interactions. According to this theory, people are most fulfilled in a relationship where benefits and contributions are equal or comparable between partners. The equity theory has four major propositions. The first one is that individuals seek to maximize their outcomes while reducing cost. They want to receive the most rewards by putting in the least amount of effort. The second one deals with individual interacting with others within a group. Collective rewards and cost must be considered. Groups try to promote equity by rewarding those who treat each other equitably and punishing the ones who treat others unfairly. The third position states that people become distressed when they perceive inequity in their relationship, such that greater inequity leads to greater distress. Lastly, the fourth proposition asserts that individuals will try to get rid of the distress by restoring equity. With this theory, we learn that it takes great effort to build, maintain, and repair relationships. Helping others. Prosocial behaviors are actions intended to benefit others. Individuals tend to risk their lives to save close relatives, more often than other people not as close to them, such as friends, acquaintances, or strangers. This is known as kin selection. Empathy plays a valuable role in helping, and a key emotional component of this is empathic concern. This involves feelings such as sympathy, compassion, and tenderness. Although not everyone may show empathy to others at all times, neuroscience research supports the idea that the capacity for empathy is part of our biology. Another factor that explains why people help others is the negative state relief model. This model proposes that people help others in order to improve their mood by counteracting their own feelings of sadness. There are many reasons why people help others. However, there are other times when they don't. So why would someone not help somebody in need? There are different situational factors that may affect whether one helps others or not. The bystander effect states that the presence of more people suppresses the help needed. This could be due to diffusion of responsibility, which means that individuals assume that others will take responsibility and provide the help needed. The obvious problem with this is that nobody helps, thinking that the person next to them will be the one helping. Noticing the emergency is another factor that is affected by the presence of others. While people may notice a situation where help is needed, the presence of others around them may be distracting and ends up diverting attention away from the victim's trouble, which is called stimulus overload. After someone notices the possible need for help, the next step is interpreting whether help is really needed or what type of help is needed. This can be affected by pluralistic ignorance, which is when individuals make the wrong assumption that his or her own thoughts and feelings are different from everyone else's, when actually many of them are thinking the same way. Altruism. The desire to help others may come from two different impulses. One is egoistic, motivated by selfish concerns, such as wanting to improve our own welfare, and the other one is altruistic, motivated by wanting to improve someone else's welfare. Helping others requires us to invest time, effort, and even money. So what is it that drives us to want to help others? The social heuristics hypothesis proposes that successful social strategies become automized actions evolving into intuitive responses. However, deliberation can override these intuitions. A key component of deliberation is to consider important concerns and payoff maximization, which ends up favoring self-interested behavior. The empathy altruism hypothesis states that altruistic motives for helping are caused by an empathic concern for an individual in need. However, this still does not answer the helper's motive. One can help another person either for egoistic or altruistic motives. Regardless of the motives, the most important thing is that the person in need receives the help, and let God evaluate the motives, since He is the only one who knows our hearts. Stated in Proverbs 21:2. A person may think their own ways are right, but the Lord weighs the heart. Conclusion. Social relations are essential for all human beings. We all have a need to belong, and who we affiliate with depends on our attractions and perceptions of others. In order to form and maintain healthy relationships, we must learn to balance cost and rewards while procuring each other's welfare. The equity theory teaches us that successful relationships take effort and should maintain equality of benefits and contributions between partners. As social beings, we are able to feel empathy towards others. Although we mostly tend to take greater risk to help those close to us, there are times that we may help strangers in major ways depending on the need and/or our empathic concern. On the other hand, there are also times that individuals may refrain from helping others due to different situational factors. Our motives to help others are attractions, who we affiliate with, and how we balance relationship with others play important roles in the development of social relations. Questions. What do you think it means to turn the other cheek in social relations? As stated in Matthew 5:39. How would you explain this to someone who uses this verse to justify living under abuse, whether physical or emotional? Based on the information provided this week, do you think altruism is mere instinct or a conscious decision?